Grüezi miteinander, bonjour à tous, and a warm welcome to the AWS Summit 2024 here in Zurich. I'm Chris Keller. Thank you for taking the time to be with us today. We have a packed agenda for you today to explore. So let's dive into the world of cloud, data, and AI. Now, from meeting with many of you since our Cloud Day last year, one trend stood out, and that is that the world is changing at a rapid speed. And speed is a leadership choice. Leaders can choose to dial it up or down. Choosing the right cloud provider and the technology helps to experiment fast and at scale, to create better products and services to stay ahead of the game. Now, staying ahead is important for Switzerland as one of the most innovative countries on the planet. Companies and organizations of all sizes have the inherent need to improve quality, be more flexible, more resilient, and more sustainable. A study by Strand Partners has shown that Swiss companies have the opportunity to unlock more than 120 billion Swiss franc in economic value with cloud and AI. Now, AWS has been investing in Switzerland since 2016. And in 2022, we launched the AWS Zurich region for companies and partners with local data residency needs. And we have more than 150 services available, providing you the tools to build fast. And we are planning to invest up to 5.9 billion Swiss francs until 2036 by building and operating data centers in Switzerland. From startups to enterprises to public sector, we are committed to Switzerland's digital future, and we love seeing you building and innovating on AWS. In fact, we have more than 10,000 customers that are innovating every single day in Switzerland. Let's look at a couple of examples. PostFinance is a Swiss bank deploying various banking and business use cases using AWS's cloud-native services. In addition to the technical advancements, the cloud transformation strengthens the competitive advantage of PostFinance. Lakera is a leading AI company providing advanced AI threat intelligence to organizations. They empower developers and companies to build AI systems that are secure and safe. Their product can be integrated with Amazon Bedrock with a single line of code to provide real-time insights into application security. And RuleMatch is a leading trading platform provider for digital assets and cryptocurrencies for financial institutions. In collaboration with their AWS partner, they combine AWS and on-premises infrastructure to meet their unique requirements for speed, security, and compliance. Now, while businesses continue to explore the art of the possible, they also face a growing skills gap. We are committed to bringing more people into the digital economy. We have provided free cloud skills trainings to 31 million people across 200 countries. And today, I'm very excited to welcome our latest AWS apprentices who have joined the program for the very first time in Switzerland. And as an ex-apprentice myself and proud father of 5, I look forward to seeing young talent grow and develop through the apprenticeship program. And we are proudly collaborating with ICT Berufsbildung Schweiz for the cloud computing module, which we also made available open source. Now, in addition to bringing more people into the digital economy, we are committed to the goals of our climate pledge, being at net zero carbon by 2040. Just this July, we proudly announced that for Amazon, we have achieved our goal of being at 100% renewable, 7 years ahead of schedule. We have been the world's largest buyer of renewable energy, investing billions in over 500 solar and wind projects. And most excitingly, we see our Swiss customers making a real difference in the world. Enesys accelerates energy transformations of cities and utility providers using AWS. With their digital twin product, they have supported more than 1,900 municipalities in adopting renewable energy and eventually a net zero carbon society. So, where to next? Like many of you, I'm excited about the future and the opportunities cloud and AI continue to bring. I invite you to explore, to network, and be inspired today. The Partner Expo and AWS World is open for you, so make sure you pay them a visit. Now, before handing over to Kevin, I would like to say a special thank you to our Platinum partners, Accenture and TrustSoft, to our Gold, Silver, and Bronze sponsors, and Advanced Training partners, and to the Global and Emerald sponsors. Thank you. And now, please welcome on stage Kevin Miller, Vice President, Global Data Centers.
Well, thank you, Chris, and it is so inspiring to hear the stories of customers that are really changing the way their businesses work and driving incredible transformation here in Switzerland. You know, he shared a statistic of more than 10,000 customers, and I see many of you in the audience. It's great to be here, so thank you for that warm welcome. You know, it's really astonishing to me seeing the kind of projects and ideas that are taking shape around us that maybe only a few years ago were just the stuff of dreams. And for example, the artwork in this keynote, like you see behind me, was actually brought to life with a collaboration between graphic artist designers and artificial intelligence. So that's just a little hint of what you're going to hear in the next few minutes in this keynote, of talking really and thinking about how have we gotten here and where we are going. You know, throughout history, there have been a number of key turning points in history where there's been a key technological breakthrough. And that turned things that were formerly impossible into an everyday reality. So for example, in the Industrial Revolution, we got the benefit of interchangeable parts. And that brought rise to, obviously, trains, planes, and automobiles, and new modes of transportation. And it really changed how we traveled and produced, and it started to bring the world more together and more connected. And then, of course, we fast forward to the digital revolution, where we saw innovations around things like transistors and operational amplifiers, and that created a big bang of electronics, which has led to life-changing technologies that we now all take for granted. You know, we all have a cell phone in our pockets. And so that's really revolutionized communication and brought technology into just being an integral part of our day-to-day lives. And then, of course, the information age, most recently, made possible by the internet and cloud computing and all of the advances that we've seen in data storage. It's really made the world feel even more connected and more of a small planet. And each of these moments in time where we saw that massive increase in our productivity and our capability, you know, then was followed by decades of new innovation and new ideas that were built on top of that fundamental new technology. And so, for example, when the internet came around, that of course made it possible for Amazon to build our online retail business, which of course now we serve hundreds of millions of customers across the globe. And then of course with cloud computing, where AWS was a pioneer here in helping companies of all sizes, from those of you who may be just working out of your bedroom or your garage, all the way up to the largest enterprises. And all of you are able to build and scale your businesses and change your businesses from anywhere in the world. You know, in the early days of running Amazon.com, we experienced a lot of challenges with provisioning and managing all of the digital infrastructure that we needed to serve our customers best. And so that was really the inspiration for us to revolutionize IT infrastructure using AWS, because then that gave access to anyone from, again, a college student all the way up to someone who's working in the largest companies to access that powerful technology. And so we were a pioneer of the cloud, which took technologies like networking and storage and databases and compute and made them all accessible on demand through programmable APIs. And so in doing so, we removed the need for you to build and run your own data centers. Now that's my job. And so you look at the innovation that's happened over the years in AWS. Today, it's more than 200 services across 34 regions. And in fact, we just launched our last region a few weeks ago. And every time we build services and capabilities, we remove the barriers that you have to being able to innovate using this new technology. So for example, we launched AWS Lambda that makes it so easy to write some code and run it in response to an event. And of course, we automatically manage all of the compute resources underneath that. And that, I think, is just the fastest way that you can take a nugget of an idea and turn it into a modern, production-grade serverless application. Or another example is the Amazon OpenSearch service, which they just recently launched zero ETL integration with Amazon S3. So now all of those operational logs that you put into OpenSearch or into S3, which, you know, most customers have terabytes or even petabytes of operational logs, you can now use OpenSearch to perform complex queries across all of those logs without having to move data around. It's just accessing that data that you already have. And so we've seen customers like Netflix radically transform the world using this technology. And of course, Netflix has changed the way we all experience entertainment. They use AWS compute and storage and networking and our global footprint to stream content in over 190 countries to customers. Or a great example from the very recent past with Moderna, they were able to complete sequencing of the COVID-19 vaccine in just 2 days using machine learning running on AWS. And they were released, after that, they released their first clinical batch just 25 days later. Now, normally all of that time, it takes years for them to do all of that, but just imagine how fast and understand how fast that they were able to do that by having access to this digital technology. And we really just think we're at the beginning. We're still at the beginning of what we can do over the next decade of innovation using technology. And we think that we are at one of those moments in time when we're going to see a radical increase in our capability, of course, brought forth by investments and the innovation around generative AI. And I think this is going to set us up to really be able to interpret and interact with data in a profound new way. Now, of course, we all know there's lots of hype, there's lots of news reports about what generative AI is or is not. My suggestion to you is to look at the capabilities of a chatbot, but just start there, because there's so much more that you can do embedding generative AI and this idea of deep reasoning into your applications. So you're now able to do things that were just unthinkable before, because you can now have access to technology that can bring human-like reasoning into an application. And I think that is the innovation that is going to fundamentally transform how we build products and services for our end customers, or really to serve the mission of our organizations even better. And so this new ability that developers can now access with just a few clicks and just a few API calls is this ability to reason. And I think this is really going to revolutionize the way we approach some big challenges across basically every industry that you can imagine. And we're already seeing some of this, in fact. So for example, Core Systems is a builder of rugged computer systems here in Zurich. And they have a product called Insight Loop that they built on top of Amazon Bedrock. And this makes their service and field teams more efficient by letting them predict what the root cause of a failure is before they even get on site with a customer. So they can be fully informed and be aware of what that root cause might be, and thus have the right parts and the right expectation about what they need to do when they get on site. And using Bedrock, they use large language models in a completely private and separate environment, so all of this data that they use stays secure. There's many other examples, from Airtable to a really revolutionary new startup, Evolution Scale, that are making it easy to generate brand new proteins and antibodies, to companies like Slack or Thomson Reuters that are using generative AI every day in the applications they offer their customers. And so, just like all of these previous moments in time have brought really big improvements to the world around us, I think the same is going to happen with AI. And it's not just about taking current tasks and making them more efficient. We're now able to automate really complex jobs that used to require that human-level thinking and reasoning. And of course, our mission in AWS, like we have for 17, now 18 years, is to break through technological barriers to make it very easy to access so that everyone can have access to it and embed it in their applications. We innovate on your behalf to make this technology easy to use, easy to scale, and really easy to deploy. So to make what you can deliver for your customers, quote, indistinguishable from magic, that's our goal. So an example here that I'd like to share with you in Switzerland is the Zurich Insurance Group. So please welcome to the stage their CTO, Archana Jain.
Hello. Zurich Insurance just turned 150 years young recently. You may know about that, but you may not know when it was founded. It was founded as a marine reinsurer. 3 years later, we added accident. Another 3 years later, we added liability. Over the years, we have expanded with many, many products, and we are offering services in 190 countries today. Once again, with the technology, insurance industry is poised for a change. In addition to looking at what we have today, which is our traditional business, which we do through brokers and agents, with the use of technology, we are expanding to other areas. We are trying to see how we can change based on where our customers are. Customers are spending more time digitally. They are buying products. We offer insurance in that life cycle. In addition, we also are looking at how they book their travel. With that, we want to make sure we are there in that experience too. Imagine if your flight is delayed and you get a text at the airport, and it entitles you to go to the lounge and with no need to file any claims. This is the experience we just launched in APAC last month. We want to build more value-added experiences for our customers. In addition to this, another area we are looking at specifically with the use of AI is how can we prevent some of these catastrophic events. Imagine using AI and with our partners looking at the data for a property, we can advise the owners on how to prevent flooding or fire. In addition, we are also looking, we have another partner, we are working in South America, where we can give early alerts when there are landslides or flooding so that people stay at home. Now, this prevention and prediction is not just good for us because we don't have any claims, it's also good for the customer. So now, in these exciting times, we have a lot more to do on the insurance side. It becomes really exciting. I joined Zurich Insurance 2 years ago with the plan to modernize our infrastructure, application, as well as practices. In the past year and a half, there's a lot of excitement around Gen AI. It's especially important for insurance because we have a lot of unstructured data as text as well as images. Now, having our application on the cloud, our data on the cloud, is a starting point for us to use to build these, to use the Gen AI. Now, our journey started with AWS 2 years ago. One of the first things we decided to build was the landing zone, where we wanted to make sure that we are building the guardrails which are mapped to our internal controls framework. So we are not just looking at modernizing our technology, we are also looking to enhance our security and resilience. So we used Terraform and AWS Control Tower to codify and build and provide more services as infrastructure as a code. And over the times, this has helped us because it's with having a code, the services are consistent, and also with the automation, they're much faster to deploy. I'll give you an example. If I have to build and deploy the same landing zone in a different region, it would take me less than 4 hours to build it up with all the controls in a brand new region. Let's see what are the advantages that we have seen on the application side. When you've been around as long as Zurich Insurance, you have a lot of legacy technology also. So first things we attacked was the databases, where if we had left them around for longer, they could have given us security concerns. So we moved those to RDS on AWS. And with that, a lot of work was automated. We are finding a lot more savings opportunity, and we're seeing many efficiency gains here. Next, we were super excited when AWS launched their region in Switzerland. This allowed us to move our global financial systems on SAP and the surrounding system into the cloud on RISE. This has given us better performance, better resiliency, faster feature changes. The team is super happy about this. Because of the data sovereignty requirements, we were able to do this. Next, even on the business applications, when we move them to cloud, even simple lift and shift has given us 30 minutes reduction in the calculation of when we are doing our underwriting. We are continuing to do further iterations to bring more efficiencies. And while we are moving to cloud, we are not just lifting and shifting, we are also changing our practices. We are adopting DevOps, we are automating, and this is freeing up the time to focus not just on the busy work, but more on feature development. Now, all of these things wouldn't have been possible if we didn't have the workforce which is skilled and using the right practices. We adopted AWS Skills Guild into our internal cloud framework and Cloud Academy, which allowed all the courses to be made available to our employees. A lot of them have done their certification, and only then we have been able to build even cloud-native applications internally. Next is my favorite, experience-based accelerator. This is when we get all the cross-functional teams who are needed to move an application to the cloud, and we get them together for 3 days in a room, whether it's a networking, security, application testing, all the teams, so that in 3 days, we solve all the problems, all the obstacles. At the end of 3 days, we have an application in a UAT environment. Now, this is a step towards agile. And these are the practices we want to bring within the organization. We are using the same EBAs to not just move to cloud, but solve other operational problems. I am super excited And we want to continue this journey, and we want to make sure that we are modernizing our application infrastructure practices so that we can innovate much faster and bring more value-added services for our customers so that we can not just meet but exceed their expectations. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Archana. I think that story is really a good example of how a modern data foundation can help you really accelerate what you can do with AI on top of it. You know, last year I saw a lot of companies start experimenting with generative AI. And over time, I think AI will be woven into all of our applications. Really, everything we do, it's going to be in there somewhere. And over time, it'll just become the norm, the vanilla. And it'll be something that all of our applications do. But we're not there yet today. We've got a lot to do to get from here to there. And while there's so much innovation happening across AWS related to our compute and infrastructure and networking and analytics, you know, I think we're going to really be leaning in on generative AI and learning together over the next several years. And that's why we're here today and what we'll start doing throughout this summit. We think that it's helpful to start thinking about the services that we have in the space already to get started. We think about it in a stack of 3 layers, where at the bottom layer you have the infrastructure that's used to train the foundation or large language models and then run those models in production. The next layer up is the middle layer, and that's how we give you access to all the models that you need to use for your applications, and all of the tools that help you build and scale applications that are built with generative AI built in. And then at the very top layer, we have applications that we can offer to you and end users that use all of the foundation models and large language models so that you can really get going quickly with generative AI and not have to have any development or specialized knowledge to start using it. Now, at the bottom layer, the models that are built, foundation models and large language models, we really divide the universe into 2 worlds. You have training and inference. And of course, the foundation models need to be trained on vast amounts of data to be very high quality. And then once you have a trained model, we use inference on the model to generate the outputs, whether it's text or images or video of any kind. And so while many of you may not actually be building foundation models directly, we are investing deeply at this layer because our ability to quickly and efficiently train new models is paramount. And that really gives us the ability to then improve the ability and efficiency of the services that are built at the middle and higher layers. So for example, at this bottom layer, we have tools like SageMaker that make it very easy to build and train models with all of the tools and workflows that are needed to do that. Now, these models, to train them, they require massive amounts of computing power. And so to really make it economical and feasible to build new models, we need the ability to run the code to do the training in an incredibly performant and cost-effective way. And so in AWS, really that centers today around the latest in NVIDIA GPUs like our H100s. These GPU-based EC2 instances are built on all of the performant foundations that we have in storage and networking, with then a broad set of orchestration options and open source frameworks. And these are the kinds of tools you can use to build any application in AWS. Using our EFA networking capability, you're able to actually provision massive clusters of up to 20,000 GPUs to support even the largest training workloads that are out there. And all of these innovations really come together to make AWS the best place to run GPUs in the cloud. And for example, then when NVIDIA decided they wanted to build one of the world's fastest GPU supercomputers, they came to us. And through Project Cebu, it's a collaboration with NVIDIA and AWS that is going to feature over 20,000 Grace Blackwell 200 super chips and our 4th generation EFA networking that provides up to 800 gigabits per second per super chip. And overall, this cluster is going to be able to produce a massive 414 exaflops of AI. And then we've taken a lot of that experience, really built over almost a decade of building AI, more than a decade, and building our own custom silicon to go even faster and to be more efficient. And that's led to some significant cost reductions in what it costs you to train and infer for your customers. So for example, with our Trainium 2 chip, you can reduce the cost of training by up to 50%, and our inference cost with Inf2 up to 40% compared to similar Amazon EC2 instances. Now, a big part of my day job is being responsible for AWS's sustainability goals. And as Chris mentioned, we have a focus on being net zero carbon by 2040. And a big part of what we're doing today is delivering renewable energy to power our operations. But one of the things that I always tell my team is that the cleanest watt is the watt that we never have to use. And so that's what really has me so excited about these custom silicon, the Trainium and Inferentia chips, because they actually reduce the energy required to do an equivalent amount of training and inference. Now, moving up the stack, when customers start to build generative AI, they often have questions about what models should be used, and how do I really move quickly to get things into production while keeping my data secure and private. And that's why we have so many investments focused on this middle layer of the stack. And it's why we built Amazon Bedrock. Bedrock is the fastest and easiest way to build and scale generative AI applications built on these large language models. And today we're seeing customers in virtually every industry using Bedrock to reinvent the way that their services and products and user experiences work. So Bedrock is a fully managed service that offers you the choice of some of the best performing foundation models from leading AI companies, as you can see. And the best part of this is that you can access all of these models using a single API. So whether you need a model that is super fast, or a model that's really capable and intelligent, or a model that you know you can execute millions and millions of times a day, so it's going to be very low cost. Regardless of what you need to do, that you will find an option in Bedrock to do that. And you can also import your own models into Bedrock and then use them just as you would one of these core foundation models. So for example, you can use Bedrock with existing customized models such as Code Llama, which is a code specialized version of Llama 2 that was created with further training and refinement on code specific data sets to be better for those applications. And we believe that this choice of models is incredibly important in being able to move fast in generative AI, because it's such early days. We're seeing such fast evolution and improvement in the models. You need the flexibility over time. The model you choose today may not be the model you use for the same workload 6 months from now. And Bedrock gives you the ability to use those different models and a model evaluation tool so that you're able to make informed choices about which model is best at this point in time for you. And of course, one of the core North Stars for us in all of our work with generative AI is that we need to be able to have safe and trustworthy and responsible use of AI. And the capabilities that we have in Bedrock, the capabilities in generative AI in general make it a really promising tool for innovation, but they can introduce the potential for misuse. And of course, our goal then is to unlock all the potential of AI while mitigating the risk of these sort of unintended consequences. And so that led us to build the feature Guardrails for Amazon Bedrock, which helps you easily implement safeguards in Bedrock for your Gen AI applications that can really be tailored to your requirements and your responsible AI policies. And Guardrails is used to filter both prompts and model responses. And so it can block specific words or topics. And it can also look to see if restricted content is ever generated, and then it can be flagged for further human review. And there's also filters for harmful content, for private information, and security checks for malicious prompts that are trying to do an injection attack. And then Bedrock also has guardrails that can check that the responses are found in the original source material and also related to the query that's being made to prevent hallucinations. So we're really excited about guardrails, and we think that this is just such a critical component to building any kind of generative AI application. But of course, every application relies on your data. That's an essential ingredient to every application. And it's also your differentiator. That's what really makes the application yours. And of course, to access that data and use it effectively in generative AI applications, the data needs to be easily discoverable and accurate and up to date. And really, you want the ability to access the data no matter where it resides. You want to make that part of it very easy. And we see the first step in doing all of this is making sure the data is in the cloud. And so one customer that I think really understands the power of how they can take their data and use it effectively with generative AI is Adobe. So I wanted you to take a quick look.
Sorry, we're picking up your bracelets on the mic.
You could Gen AI them out.
For decades at Adobe, we've been pushing technology to help creative professionals create content.
The pace of innovation right now is really high. AWS has been instrumental in helping us scale up to meet our needs.
Firefly is our family of foundational generative models. We've built our training and inference infrastructure on top of Amazon EC2 and Amazon S3. We use EFA technology for fast machine-to-machine communication and fleets of NVIDIA B4, B5 that enable us to train large models very fast.
Generative AI is an ingredient in a creator's creative process. Creators can ideate with this new generative technology and take that further within the applications that they use.
And doing all of those things in seconds. More than 5 billion images have been generated in the last 11 months. We wouldn't have been able to navigate that growth without the help from AWS.
And there's so much more to come, expanding our family of foundational models and maturing those capabilities.
That's the future, embracing this rapid innovation. It's the new digital literacy. It's required for any company these days.
Can't wait to see what our customers are going to do with that.
Now, I've been at AWS for 16 years, and I've spent a lot of time working with customers and helping them drive their digital transformation and start really using the cloud. And in my mind, the key to most transformations is data. And at this point, I would say every modern business is really a data business. And so we're having that exact same conversation with customers now about how they can use their data in generative AI. And really, what we've seen across all of types of use cases is that you have to have a strong data foundation with a comprehensive and integrated set of data management services and all the tools to manage data access and end-to-end data validation so that you can have your data in the best shape to be used with generative AI. And I think of Gen AI as a new type of application that can then sit on top of that existing data foundation that you can use to now do even more. And so you want to be able to plug in existing data sources, whether that's an S3 data lake, which was, as the general manager for S3 previously, was very near and dear to me, or for your operational databases or other sources of data. You want to have these data building blocks that you're very familiar with and be able to make ready use of them. And you want to be able to then, therefore, have all of that high-quality enterprise data to really customize your AI. And with Amazon Bedrock, we offer now a complete set of capability to create these applications with the data that's relevant to your business. And so that includes amazing new capabilities like the ability to fine-tune, to use retrieval augmented generation and really pull your data in to responses from generative AI, as well as agents to help execute tasks using your applications and your data sources. And we have lots of content at today's summit to help you explore these different methods. And I'll actually we'll have a demo a little bit later to show you how you can implement retrieval augmented generation. Now, I would be remiss in not saying that at AWS, security and privacy is our top priority. It's job number one for us. And that's been in our DNA for the last 18 years and woven into every service we build, including Amazon Bedrock. We don't ever use your data for training. And when you fine-tune a model using your data, we create a private and secure container that's only accessible to you. And then we, of course, ensure that anytime data is transmitted throughout the AI lifecycle, we use end-to-end data encryption on it. And Bedrock has also been now developed in support for strict compliance controls like GDPR. Our goal with Bedrock is to make AI accessible and straightforward for anyone to use. And you can expect in Bedrock the same types of APIs, SDKs, and security features that you see in all AWS services. So just like you would expect with our services like S3 and EC2 or RDS, we have enterprise-grade features to help keep your data secure. We also have some of the core AWS capabilities like identity and access management, CloudTrail logging, and data perimeters to continue to protect your data. That's all there in Bedrock. Now, a lot of customers for over many years have used AWS services to modernize and evolve how enterprise systems really work in their companies. And we now believe you can use AI on AWS to have that same transformative effect on your applications. And so I'd like to introduce you to an AWS customer that's building on top of their modern data strategy to move even faster with AI. So please join me in welcoming Chris Hansen, the Chief Corporate Development Officer of Clariant.
Good morning, everyone. It's a great pleasure and honor for me to be here with you today. As a specialty chemicals company, we at Clariant constantly explore how technology can help us innovate safer and more sustainable products. It's probably few of you who have ever heard of Clariant, and even fewer who know of our products. Yet, we are actually everywhere in the products that you consume and use on a daily basis. Let me give you just two concrete examples. Our ingredients provide the texture and the functionality that makes your face cream actually feel great on your skin and makes you look younger. And a second example, it's also our products that provide the flame retardancy which prevents your smartphone from catching fire. Now, when powerful Gen AI tools emerged at the end of 2022, we quickly recognized their enormous potential for innovation, growth, and productivity across our company. But we also saw risks. We couldn't risk our employees using public Gen AI tools that might expose our valuable IP and other confidential information. So we set out to find a secure solution that would allow us to harness the power of Gen AI safely. Our priorities were clear. It was about security, speed, and flexibility. We wanted to keep pace with technology developments and be able to choose the right model for each use case. And AWS proved to be the ideal partner for us. They understood our confidentiality concerns and provided a clear path forward, building on Amazon Bedrock with flexible access to various latest Gen AI models. And with the technical guidance and resources of AWS, we were able to quickly deploy our own platform globally. It also helped that we already knew AWS from the work that we did with them over the past years in moving our data and applications into the cloud. In August 2023, we then launched our Clariant Generative AI platform, designed to serve the needs of all our colleagues, irrespective of their role or location. We named it Clarita and gave it an amicable face to make it more approachable and to mitigate any reservations about adopting new technology. And in just over a year, Clarita has really taken Clariant with a storm and has become an integral part of how many of us work today. Already more than 15% of our colleagues use Clarita weekly, with more than 30% relying on her at least once a month. For many colleagues, Clarita feels like an additional, highly capable and highly efficient team member, often, in fact, even their favorite team member. We have introduced Clarita coffee sessions which are bi-weekly virtual gatherings where colleagues from across the world meet up, share use cases, and ask questions in an informal setting. This inclusive approach helps us to collect feedback and ideas for Clarita's further development. And very importantly, it maintains and it drives adoption forward. And Clarita supports all 4 dimensions of our corporate strategy, which is customer focus, sustainability, innovation, and people engagement. Let me share a few examples. And you will notice that people engagement is an element in every one of these cases. In sales, Clarita helps our sales reps to manage customer accounts and to prepare effectively for their meetings, thereby improving productivity, customer satisfaction, and ultimately growth with our customers. Our Clarita sales solution is already fully rolled out in one of our business units and with extremely positive feedback from our sales colleagues. And now rollout is in progress in the other BUs as well. In customer service, Clarita assists with order-to-cash inquiries, extracting information, fetching data, and drafting email replies for a final review by our customer service reps. And thereby, Clarita streamlines the processes and improves the quality of the replies substantially, which is key for our customer loyalty. Our R&D teams use Clarita for accessing vast amounts of internal and external knowledge, combining and even generating new insights. But they also use Clarita to design experiments and to complete mundane tasks such as SOP writing and project documentation, thereby speeding up the entire innovation process. And thanks to Amazon TextRact, Clarita can reference legacy document sources in pretty much any language. Clarita also optimizes processes at our production sites, leveraging the vast amount of data that we generate on a daily basis. And this has led to significant energy savings. We have, for example, saved 10% of natural gas in a plant in Indonesia and 2% of the entire steam consumption at a major German plant. If you are interested to learn more about Clarita, I very much encourage you to attend the breakout session with our CIO, Cesar Choku, at 1:15 on the Eiger stage. In this session, Cesar and AWS will dive deeper onto the technical backbone of Clarita. And while we're excited about our progress, we also do recognize that this is just the very beginning. We're continuously expanding Clarita's capabilities to meet the needs of various roles in our company and to leverage the ever-expanding possibilities with generative AI. Our goal is that every single Clarion colleague leverages Clarita for faster, better, and more innovative work. We, as the executive team at Clarion, view this as a major transformation that will reshape job descriptions and workflows across our company, and which will be essential for our future success. And if you are considering how Gen AI might benefit your own role or company, I'd like to share a few pieces of advice based on our experience. Number one, use your imagination. Think big. Think beyond the incremental when you try to envision where Gen AI can take you. And number two, start in a very practical way with simple use cases that you can then scale and expand on. And finally, number three, and most importantly, focus on the people. Make sure that the solutions benefit the people and actually make them happier at work. Use this to create more pull and increase adoption for greater impact. I would be very excited to hear about your experiences. I think the more we learn from each other, the more we will get out of this amazing technology to everyone's benefit. Thank you for your attention.
All right, well, thank you, Chris. It is so great to see Clarion embracing generative AI and how you've been able to incorporate AI into your office experience. Now, many of our customers want to take advantage of AI without building applications. And instead, they want to integrate their enterprise data with an AI application that lets them take advantage of all the cool capabilities of the language models and foundation models very quickly and easily, without needing to be experts in ML or developers. And for this, we've developed Amazon Q, which is a GenAI-powered assistant tailored to your specific business. And Q is built with the security and privacy in mind from the start that makes it easier to get started using this safely. And it has multiple areas of expertise now that help address the needs of different types of users and roles within your company. But since many of you here are developers, let's focus on what it can do for you. And with Amazon Q Developer, you can actually transform the way that you build at every step of the development lifecycle. We've put Amazon Q where you work. So it's ready to assist you integrating and implementing AWS applications in our management console, in our documentation, in IDEs, and in your team chat rooms like in Slack. And I wanted to give you now a first-hand demonstration of how this works and how you can build with generative AI. And for that, I'd like to welcome to the stage Victoria Seaman, who's a senior developer advocate at AWS.
Now, I want everyone to imagine that you are a developer working for a big pharmaceutical company. And this company has a research team that does a lot of work around new drug development and discovery, repurposing existing drugs, and identifying biomarkers. One of the team's biggest challenges is quickly identifying new research areas and assessing the quality and relevance of academic papers. The team currently uses a portal written in Java to submit and review research papers, but these documents lack important metadata such as accurate summaries and tags for easy categorization and search. With all the talks about generative AI, you got to thinking that maybe you could use it to solve this problem. You can easily implement this new functionality by creating a new Lambda function that interacts with Bedrock to summarize, add tags, and append useful metadata to your documents. And then you can update your existing Java application to call your Lambda function. Now you can say, well, I'm not an AI expert. Well, luckily, Bedrock makes it extremely easy to add GenAI capabilities to any app by utilizing a unified API. So you decide to use Amazon Titan Text Express model because it provides a good balance between speed and efficiency. So to get started, you ask Q in your IDE, how do I call a Titan Text Express model in Bedrock? And Q provides you with a step-by-step instructions on how to implement the Bedrock code along with a brief explanation of what the code does. As someone that's never worked with a Bedrock before, Q makes it very easy to understand what each step does and thus allows you to get quickly familiar with the Bedrock API. As you can see, it only takes a few lines of code to invoke any model in Bedrock. In fact, you may want to experiment and try a different model like Anthropic's Claude 3 Sonnet to see whether it can do a better job in summarizing and tagging your documents. So you ask Q again in your IDE, how do I call Claude 3 Sonnet model? And Q gives you the code you need. You can then easily add it to your function by pressing Insert at Cursor button. Now you can use Q Developer to get your Lambda handler code that will be triggered from your Java application. For this, you can type what you want using natural language, and Q comes back with a few code suggestions on how to quickly implement the Lambda handler code. With the Lambda code complete, you can now update the Java portal. But you're a new developer on the team, and you're not familiar with the code. So you need to do a bit of exploring to understand how this application works and where to add the new logic. To save you time and get quickly up to speed, you ask Q in your IDE, what does this application do? And Q analyzes the code and provides you a detailed explanation of the current project. Next, you use Q to help you to write the code that calls your Lambda function and identify all the areas in the existing application that need to be updated. Q is able not only successfully produce the necessary code, but also identify the ideal locations where to add the new logic. With all the code implemented, the next step is to log into the AWS console to test your function. You want to ensure that everything is working as expected. However, upon execution, the Lambda function failed by throwing an error you were not expecting. Instead of losing valuable time trying to figure out what caused this error, Q in the console can help you quickly troubleshoot and even resolve this problem. So in the console, you press Troubleshoot with Amazon Q button, and within a few seconds, Q informs you that the problem is a missing permission. How often this happens, right? So furthermore, you can even ask Q to provide you the resolution steps to fix this problem. With all the issues resolved and code deployed in production, the portal can now provide complete, up-to-date, and accurate summaries so that your team can move faster and more efficiently. You could stop there, but with all the data sitting in S3, you have an opportunity to build an even better portal and add more value to your team. So, to leverage the existing data, you've configured Bedrock with a knowledge base that is linked to your S3 bucket for retrieval augmented generation, or RAG. What this enables is that it prompts to the Bedrock API to also retrieve links to documents related to specific topic and therefore provide even more accurate and relevant results. And Bedrock makes it extremely easy to add RAG. All you need to do is to ask Q to help you to update your Lambda function code to also include a knowledge base when you call the Bedrock API, so that you can invoke the model and also retrieve relevant information from the knowledge base all in one combined call. With a few additional lines of code, you are able to quickly and efficiently find relevant research paper from your vast document repository. Bedrock enables builders to build complex generative AI applications quickly, efficiently, and even more importantly, securely. Thank you. Back to Kevin.
Well, thank you, Victoria, for that great walkthrough. Super impressive what Q can do. Q solves many problems across the end-to-end development lifecycle, from writing and authoring code to debugging, testing, and documenting. And our customers are already seeing some really phenomenal results from this. National Australia Bank is a customer who's using Q with customizations. They're able to have a 50% code acceptance rate for suggestions from Q, and now more than 40% of their developers are already using Q. And in fact, they've doubled the number of employees that use Q Developer from 450 to more than 1,000 in just a few months. It's really impressive to see the growth here. There is such amazing demand for cloud computing and AI technology in Switzerland, and we are committed to helping train. We've made a commitment to train 29 million people, and we've actually already trained 31 million people, so we've already exceeded this goal. And globally today, we have 260 AWS experts across 56 countries who form a very great community of AWS heroes that help share knowledge and really be great resources in local communities. So for example, Frank Pichot is a data hero here in Switzerland, and he's one of our top creators on the AWS Heroes Dev 2. So thank you, Frank. So whether you're integrating generative AI into your applications or using it to build more efficiently, I believe there has never been a better time to be a builder. And all of us may not have been around for the invention of interchangeable parts or the transistor. And for some of us, we weren't here for the birth of the internet. But the inventions and the breakthroughs around us have really transformed our lives and the world around us. And we're really now at the precipice for inventing today and tomorrow what will lead to a profound impact on the world in the coming years. So around the summit, as you learn about all of the tools and solutions here today, I want to leave all of you with just one question. And that is, what magic are you going to build? So thank you. I look forward to seeing you around the summit here in Zurich. Have a great day.